Continuing on with our basic gospel information from Romans. Today I wanted to talk about step number 1, and this is found in the first half of chapter 1 of Romans. And basically what we're saying in this step is, are you a seeker or are you going to do your own thing? Now, generally, these subjects are taught in Romans, and then you go back to the Psalms to get information about how do you react to that step, stuff like that. But in this particular case, we're going to get some of the really well-taught information is right in the psalm. So that's where I'm going to start. Because the steps, people say, well, where do you get the step numbers from? I get the step numbers from the Psalms, because the Psalms line up with the steps. So you have the first topic in Paul's letters, which is the one we're working on, first half of the chapter 1, and it corresponds to Psalm 1. The second topic in Paul's letters is going to correspond to Psalm 2, and so forth on out through all of his letters. And there's 150 psalms, so there's quite a few of these steps. Most of the psalms are corresponding to these steps. And of course, this information is the same stuff that God gave to Yeshua and taught to his disciples. It's the same stuff that was taught to Elijah when he taught his sons of the prophets, as it's called, but they were his disciples. And it's the same stuff that God taught to Adam. So all this information has been available from the beginning. And so that's why you find the exact steps that we need all the way back in the Psalms. Now, so let's look at Psalm 1. Blessed. The word blessed means happy. Happy is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. A scornful person, in the Hebrew, this word means that the information is not important. Okay, so what is important, what is believed, what is a concern. This is what it's dealing with here. Verse 2. But his delight is in the Torah of the Lord, and in his Torah he meditates day and night. Now the word Torah, in a lot of translations, it's translated law. It refers to the instructions in the books of Moses. The word actually means instruction. The books of Moses is the first 5 books of the Bible. And so this is specifically telling us that our authority needs to be the law of Moses in particular. But we also understand that the rest of the Bible was inspired by God also, and so is perfectly correct and is in complete harmony with the Torah. And there's a lot of theologians out there who teach that the New Testament is different than the law of Moses, but that's a misinterpretation, and we're going to get into that as we go through this series. But suffice it to say that when we make decisions in life, when we are trying to learn something and decide what is our worldview going to be, we have 2 choices. We can either do God's way, which is found in the Bible, which is founded on the Torah, or we can do something else. And this is a problem that a lot of people have who supposedly Bible believers, but they don't really believe in the Bible. What they believe in is their own particular idea of right and wrong. And then they go into this big book, the Bible, and find a verse in there that'll support what they believe. And it's real easy to do. It's a big book. You take a verse out of context, misinterpret it, and it teaches exactly what you want it to say. And this is the difference between a seeker, a true seeker, and someone who is just doing their own thing. And we have a whole bunch of denominations that teach all kinds of different doctrines. And they all say that they're based on the Bible. Now, how can that possibly be? Well, it's because they're not reading the message of the Bible. They're reading into the Bible. They have their own preconceived ideas. They find a verse taken out of context, misinterpreted to support it, and then they run with it. Okay? And that's the decision that you are going to have to make every day of your life. Every time you try to grow spiritually, you're going to have to make that decision. Are you going to go with what the Bible says, or are you going to go with what your ideas are? Because we come into this thing with a whole bunch of messed up ideas. Okay, we are unbelievers originally, and the world teaches us all kinds of crazy stuff, and we come to the Bible all messed up. And so every time you turn around, as you study the Bible, you're going to find that the Bible is saying one thing, and it's different than what you think it should say. And you're going to have to decide which way are you going to go. Are you going to go with what the Bible says and change and fit the Bible yourself? Or are you going to go with what you say and make the Bible fit you? That's your choice. And that is so this is a choice that you're going to make at the beginning of the path, whether you're going to get on the path or not. But it's also a choice that you're going to make every step of the path. Which way are you going to go? So it is a foundational principle of the whole path. It doesn't matter if you're on step 38. You're going to have to make that decision. Are you going to go with what the Bible says, or are you going to go with what you think is right and wrong? And that's going to be your choice. So this step is extremely important. It is the difference between those who are going to grow and get closer to God and those who are going to stay away from Him. So, so that is step one, and that's the basics of step one. The next thing that we need to cover is how to interpret the Bible, how to read the Bible, how to study the Bible, and we'll cover that in the next step. So here's your question. Are you a true seeker? Are you going to find out what the Bible says and change? Or do you have your own ideas that are more important to you? Are you going to scorn God's ideas and make the Bible fit what you think it should say? That's your choice.